this is Jennifer Lawrence Lepka. I'm so happy you found me and that you're here today. And you know what? I want you to know that it is fate. It is destiny. Out of all of the potential channels you could have stumbled upon, you found me today. And I believe that there is a reason, and there is a reason for everything. And I want to talk to you right now about what my channel is going to focus on and what we're all about here. And that is, we want to focus on self-growth, transformation, mindset, positivity, how to be a catalyst for change, the steps that you can take towards your own success. And we will also cover a variety of topics within the scope and realm of self-development, professional development, skill sets and habits that will help you to create and live into the best and highest version of yourself. So we'll also be talking about our brain and neuroscience and neuropsychology and how the idea of brain plasticity and how that we can change and evolve over time affects our lives. My perspective includes a multicultural view as I've traveled around the world, living abroad in Asia, Europe, North and South America, and I've always loved reading proverbs and ancient stories and mythology and folklore and studying the culture of each country I really spent time in and visited. And so I want to bring you treasured pearls of wisdom and nuggets of knowledge, true gold and gems. And we're not only going to focus on theory and what's abstract, but I'm a practical person. And I like to take ideas and breathe life into them and translate them into reality. So how do we manifest what we're thinking about so that it becomes tangible? So I may go over certain topics, even gleaned through ancient texts, such as the Holy Bible. I also draw from the wisdom of ancient cultures and traditions and even certain religions, because I believe that there are people who have lessons for us. And isn't it better to learn from someone else's life experience than to go through everything on our own or by ourselves? And what I mean by that is, if you know something is not good for you, that it doesn't add to your life or the quality of your life, then why would you embrace it? So we may even talk about things such as peer pressure and how to resist it. And at the core is self-love, self-knowledge, self-acceptance, self-awareness. And within this, we will also talk about creativity and how you can express yourself fully so that you can truly be the person that God created you to be. So we will discuss tools and techniques on how to live your designer life. And what I mean by living your designer life is it's also similar to living your best life. And by living your designer life, you live according to your own unique blueprint, the design that our masterful, amazing, marvelous creator had when he first had the dream of you, when he envisioned you, when he thought about your life and put you together in your mother's womb and set things into motion for you. Now, there is a lot about our world which is mysterious and mystical, and some of my methods may not be conventional. So I should also share with you that I am an empath. I believe I am here for a purpose, and that is to shine my light as brightly as possible and to promote the spirit and the message of harmony, of peace, of unity, of truth, of creative collaboration and a type of synergy and synthesis. So I believe in working with others in order to bring big projects and ideas into fruition. So I can speak from the perspective of an entrepreneur, as well as the perspective of a teacher, of a motivational and a life coach. You see, when I was growing up and I became a young woman, I had such a quest for knowledge, a hunger and a thirst for knowledge and wisdom. And that propelled me forward to not only embark on a physical journey, which, as I referenced before, included traveling around the world. And while I was traveling, I usually taught English as a second language, but I also got involved in community projects, whether it was to volunteer and help to build an eco-village in El Tigre, Argentina, or attend and contribute my perspective regarding a peace conference in Muju, South Korea. So those are just two examples. And given that I've done a lot of studying and research over the years, books are my friends, I like to read, reflect, study, research, and then share the precious pearls of knowledge and wisdom that I've been privileged and very grateful to find. And speaking of being grateful, we're also going to speak about, through a series of videos, gratitude, the attitude of gratitude, being proactive. We'll draw from the lessons and the wisdom of wonderful motivational speakers and inspirational authors, from Les Brown to Wayne Dyer to Jim Rohn to Brian Tracy to Joel Osteen. I believe each person has his or her own personality and unique contribution and perspective on life. So there are some authors and motivational speakers, coaches, educators that you'll really love their energy and you'll resonate with them. And that's so wonderful, and I love that. And there are others you might be thinking, well, okay, maybe she's just not my flavor, not my exact cup of tea. Maybe it's in the delivery, maybe it's in the energy or the spirit that you feel. And so there are some people who may be very popular and maybe you'll be thinking about them, but maybe I won't reference them because they're wonderful. We all have great gifts, but I believe that my message needs to be curated. And I will present myself as a curator of ideas. Because one of the things that makes me so excited and enthusiastic about living is the generation of ideas. So the ability to generate and create and to think. And then you can consider what your thoughts will bring. How was this idea match up with this one and pair with that one? And even the sources of creativity. When you look at one aspect of something, or a dot, let's say a dot, that's a better analogy, okay? And then you take the other dot, and they might be in very different spheres, but if you fuse them and you connect them, try to get these fingers together, okay? And sometimes I like to keep everything lighthearted, but not always. There's a time to be serious. There's a time to be super enthusiastic. But I like to use humor. I think it's fun to interject humor, so to be the educator, the one who enlightens, who inspires, who edifies. And by edifying, I mean to build up, to encourage. So my role in your life, and the reason that you're here with me, is because there's something inside of me, and I can share it with you to help you grow. Even sometimes to help you, remind you about something that you knew. Maybe you learned 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but right now, if it's in your mind, and and is at the forefront of your mind, it would help you when you're about to make a decision, or if you're at a crossroads or a transition in your life. Now, we all have these transitions. Just think about the path and the journey that the caterpillar takes and then to become this amazing, gorgeous butterfly. And I'm not going to minimize any kind of pain or struggle or trauma. In fact, we're going to find creative and sensitive ways to address issues, because I don't know exactly what you may be going through in your life right now, where you are. I can intuit, and I may sometimes use my intuition and what I feel led to say. And so sometimes some of my messages might resonate with you, and other times some of them might not, but maybe your best friend or your mom or your auntie or your grandma or your neighbor, or Mabel, who's 85 years old and a little lonely, and her cat died, so she might need that message. So what I encourage you to do is to share these videos when you hear something and you think it could genuinely help or encourage a fellow traveler on this planet, right? This plane of existence. And I want to encourage you to always be gentle and be kind, and use your words, use your tongue to speak words of life, to encourage, to build people up. And I can't emphasize that enough. So I may repeat myself, because as an educator, as a teacher, the most important thing is that you receive the message, and not only do you receive it in here and you know it up here, but you're able to take that message, translate it, interpret it in the right context, please, that's very important, and then live it. So words, just as words in a text, in a book, when you start reading something, you look at the title, the table of contents, you might read the author's biography, acknowledgments, etc. And you look for what is the main message. What will I gain as a result of spending time with this book? And if you really think about it, many authors, they write about their expertise, what they've learned throughout their career or throughout their life. We have so many different genres of books. So isn't it wonderful to be able to learn in an afternoon or a weekend or a week or a month, or however long it takes you to read and digest that book? And I also encourage you to not just read a book once, but to read it multiple times. For example, some of the most successful people in the world, like Bob Proctor, have read Think and Grow Rich, dozens and hundreds of times. And the value of books like that is each time you open up that book, you might see something that you didn't see before. Because remember, sometimes our minds are a little crowded. So it's important to clear your mind a little bit. So I think it's good to meditate, take a deep breath, and prepare your mind for that time when you're going to be learning something new. So if you can, for example, grab a pen and a notebook, and if you have any distracting or interrupting thoughts or any nagging things, to write them down so then that you're free and present to be able to learn. And that's a gift you give to yourself, because I value your time, I value my time. And the fact that we can show that value and we can respect each other is the foundation for a beautiful relationship. And I want you to consider that when you are approaching another human being and an animal, think about how he or she wants to be treated, and your ethics and your morals and what you've learned about treating people well. And always remember, it's cool to be kind. Actually, I want to make it more cool to be kind. Kindness and inner beauty reflects on the outside. So what can you do? Think about this today. This This is one of your action steps. And I encourage you to write a journal. Keep a journal so that you can really treat it as a workbook. So when you watch the videos and what I want to share from you sincerely from my heart and my soul, and how I feel inspired from God to share with you, if you record things, when you ask questions, and it's the quality of the questions that you ask which helps to determine the quality and the relevance of the answers you get. So it's a good practice and a good habit to keep a workbook, to keep a journal. And there are different techniques you can use. For example, there's a technique called bullet journaling, and I encourage you to go to Google or look it up what it means. And sometimes I might say that to you because when you take an idea or a thought, but then you follow your nose or your own sense of curiosity, you discover so much more. So it really enriches your life and your practice of lifelong learning. So now I just mentioned another value of mine, and that's lifelong learning. I believe that in order to reach our full potential in life and to really develop as human beings and to self-actualize, that it is very important to work on ourselves. And if you have a self-growth plan or a plan for your own transformation, and you take inventory and you look inside and you think, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are areas in my personality and in my life that need attention? Because we only have so many hours in a day, so isn't it wonderful to manage and to organize and to structure different facets of our lives so that we can live fully and be present? We will also discuss throughout different videos the value of good communication, body language, interpersonal skills, and as I think of it, different professional development skills and abilities. So by refining your current skill sets, learning additional skills, and becoming invaluable to the workforce, you will be able to advance in your career and chosen profession. So I encourage you to follow the personal laws of the masters or the maestros. And that is to really invest your time and energy and focus on your craft, on your passion. And of course, if you're not exactly certain about what your passion is or your craft or your chosen industry, if you're still, very young and exploring, I spent a lot of time in my life sampling different careers, different paths, different opportunities, business ideas, etc. And even though at different times I felt like, I'm learning, I may not be totally focused on one thing, but there's value here. And I remember one day I got that validation when I was listening to one of my favorite authors. He was being interviewed about his books. And he mentioned that it was his early life experience, which included travel, many different jobs, career changes, paths, challenges, obstacles, which caused him to become very resourceful and informed his mind and his brain for the vision of his writing career and the books that he would produce, and the in-depth study about human behavior, what motivates us, what is our why, and such. And I'm referring to a man by the name of Robert Greene. And he's written some really wonderful books. And right now, I'm not going to tell you exactly all the titles because I want you to be a little curious. Think, what did he write? And then you go to Google or Ecosia, which is an eco-environmentally friendly search engine. So they say on the homepage that as you use their service, they will use their resources to plant trees. I'm like, oh, that's great. So that's just an example of how you can make a difference, even in a small way. So whether you walk outside and when you're on your way to the grocery store or to the mailbox and you see a neighbor and you give a sincere, warm greeting, even if you're wearing a mask, I guess you smile through your eyes, but anyway, depends on when you see this video. Hopefully, you can show your face and feel comfortable about it. And, that's one of the things in the last year and a half, which has been sad, you miss seeing people's faces. The wonderful expressions on their faces, whether, it's a cute smile, a grin, a laugh, shy smile, just that look of humanity. Now, I digress a little bit, and that happens sometimes. So going back to the original point, we may also take assessments such as personality assessments, or I may encourage you to learn more about your personality by taking a Myers-Briggs test and find out what your personality type is, and how finding out what your personality type is can reveal a hidden ability, skill, or talent that maybe you didn't know that you had. And sometimes we do have a treasure inside that hasn't been tapped yet or mined. But it is my goal to be your guide. Not only my goal, but is my role. It kind of rhymes, it's kind of cute, right? Goal, role. And so my purpose is to help you along your path, to pass on the knowledge that I've gained through my time on planet Earth. Sounds kind of funny. On planet Earth, yeah. Not Mars yet. But who knows? It looks like they're exploring Mars right now. So anyway, I encourage you to spend time in quiet contemplation, reflection, meditation. Sometimes it's great to curl up with your favorite pet, whether you have an adorable cat or little doggy, and grab a cup of tea, your favorite beverage, or hot cocoa, or coffee, cappuccino, and just create a sacred space for your learning and your self-growth. And remember that as you invest in yourself and you fill up your cup, then you have so much more to give to other people, your family, your loved ones, your community. And another thing that we will be talking about throughout the days, weeks, months, and years is how can we be a force for good in our community? What can we do to build our community? What skills, talents, abilities, education experiences do we have? And by being a careful observer and listener, what can you notice? Where is there a need? And how can you fulfill that? Because by doing that, we can bit by bit, step by step, create a better world. And don't we need that? We need more positive news. So I encourage you to make the news. And when I say that make the news, make the headlines by thinking or creating or imagining or doing something great, whether it's organizing a community group, a social group, rallying behind an idea that gains a lot of steam. And when I say steam, I mean the fire, the passion, the energy behind it. That there are some ideas that you live for and that you can spend your entire life and pursuing and working on furthering a cause, a reason for being, a way to give, a way to serve and show up in the world. So I also encourage you in the comments section to write down what are some ways after you brainstorm, whether it's by yourself or if you talk to your mom, your dad, your best friend, your neighbor, your coworker, your business partner, we'll go down the list, your cousin, that hot guy you have a crush on, or that, shy, cute girl who hides out in the bookstore. You know, you know what I mean. And think about what you can do to encourage him or her on his path. So one of the skills I like to use is the skill of interviewing. So when you hear the word interview, we're not just talking about a job interview or how, for example, Oprah Winfrey might conduct her interviews when she interviews a celebrity or an author, political figure, etc. We're talking about having a conversation, a mutual exchange, a meeting of the minds with a purpose, with intention. So let's say you sit down with your grandma or your grandpa or someone else you have on your mind, and you ask a series of questions. And you ask a series of questions to show your care, your interest, and your love, and to get to know this loved one or friend better. And by doing that, you can open up the treasure trove that they have inside. And in so doing, you can make them A, feel valued, B, or number 2, validated, number 3, heard, and number 4, listened to, and number 5, spark something inside. Then you can take that knowledge and think of how ways you can learn. That's why it's really wonderful to spend time with the elderly, those who've had years and years of life experience and have wisdom to pass on and share. And I encourage mentor and mentee relationships. There is an exchange. Sometimes the elderly, many of their family members or their friends may have died. They might feel a little lonely. And maybe by providing some companionship or company, you can help them feel loved and cared for. And in turn, the reciprocal part of the benefits of the relationship is they can teach you something, whether it's a skill, an idea, a business, help you grow, or even help you to avoid a potential life-changing mistake. And so I want to leave you temporarily with that. We talked about a lot, and this idea, this vision I have for my YouTube channel, it is going to evolve, and as I learn more and grow more, so will the scope of this channel. We can look at this, I'm going to borrow a term from a famous podcaster and YouTube interviewer, and I like to listen to him a lot. I find his interview style is amazing, and I'm very encouraged by him. You may know him by the School of Greatness, and that's his creation. Now, I am the curator of ideas, and my brand actually is Life Guidance Angel. And one of my intentions is to help you see the greatness you have inside of you and discuss ways to bring it out and to express that. We also might be using different techniques and modalities, and I will draw from my research and knowledge of psychology and different forms of psychology and the social sciences. I believe that we can learn as long as we have an open mind and we look for the value or the hidden truth or the gem in many different industries and areas and disciplines. And speaking of discipline, we will be discussing the role of self-discipline and how by disciplining yourself, your mind, your body, your heart, your spirit, and everything that makes you you and living a disciplined life, It contributes to living your designer life. And remember, living your designer life is living by your own unique design, the blueprint that the Creator has for you. And that reflects your skills, your talents, your abilities, your gifts, your natural interests, inclinations, education, experience, expertise, and so forth. And when you do a deep dive, and right now I want to ask you to make a commitment. Okay. When I say make a commitment, I want you to make a commitment to yourself. As an act of self-love and determination, I want you to commit to your self-growth, your self-development, to learning how to love yourself more, to value and esteem yourself, and then to reflect that energy to others and to the world outside. I really hope you will. And when you do write comments and you communicate with others, let's all do it in a spirit of love, peace, and harmony. Okay? So some of the rules are to treat each other with respect, kindness, gentleness, and love. And I encourage support and creative collaborations. And I think I've given you a lot to digest, right? So I encourage you to watch this video more than once. And when something sparks your creativity, your imagination, take a moment and pause the video and write it down. And always think, what is the next best step I can take to move forward in my life with an attitude of service and gratitude. And on that note, my name is Jennifer Lawrence Alapka. I'm very grateful and happy to be here. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a blessed, productive, and amazing day. And go out and make it happen. Make purpose happen. Make joy happen. Make love happen. And make peace happen. And hashtag that. So we're going to hashtag make peace happen. Make love happen. Make joy happen. And make purpose happen. Are you with me? Excellent. And I want you to also like, comment, and subscribe so that the YouTube algorithm can spread this message I have of love and hope and purpose for you wide and far. So much love. Mwah.